Breaking news! The Chicago Bears are gearing up for their Week 3 showdown against the Dallas Cowboys, and the tension is already sky-high. Earlier this week, head coach Ben Johnson delivered a message that wasn't just for his players, but for the entire NFL. And it had fans buzzing. Before we dive into the details of this breaking story, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss the latest NFL updates. Now, let's move on. Johnson didn't hold back when speaking to the media. He reminded everyone that football starts with the basics: blocking, catching, ball security, and playing through the whistle. In his words, you practice like you play. And right now, he believes the Bears' practice habits have not yet risen to the level of a championship team. That's a bold statement, but exactly the kind of accountability fans have been waiting to hear. The message is clear: if the Bears want to dominate on Sunday against a Cowboys defense that's been struggling, the work has to show up long before kickoff. And make no mistake, Johnson wasn't just talking to his locker room. His words were a challenge to the Cowboys, to the league, and to anyone doubting the Bears this season. The Bears started strong in OTAs. Preseason had flashes of promise. But the question now is, where did that energy go? The team has to rediscover that confidence, that edge, that swagger. And it has to show up on the field, not just in talk. Head coach Ben Johnson has made it clear this is about toughness. He wants a brand of football in Chicago that's physical, disciplined, and unforgiving. It's not about coddling players, it's about demanding accountability. Trust has to flow both ways. The players must earn Johnson's trust, and he has to earn theirs. And by the looks of it, he's grinding away at that process step by step. Johnson explained that nothing about their approach should change whether they're winning or losing. The focus is on corrections, turning the page quickly, and building habits that lead to December football. Because that's when great teams separate themselves from the rest. And here's something to remember: when Johnson first stepped in as Detroit's offensive coordinator, he stumbled out of the gate with a 1-6 record. But by the end of that year, the Lions finished 9-8. That kind of turnaround doesn't happen by accident, it happens through belief in the process, demanding more, and refusing to accept mediocrity. That's exactly the kind of transformation he's trying to engineer here in Chicago. And you can already see glimpses of it week by week. The Bears are starting to grow into this new system. The question now is, who's willing to buy in completely, and who will get left behind? The latest injury report doesn't paint a pretty picture for Chicago. But regardless of who's sidelined, one thing remains non-negotiable: energy. This has to be a next man up mentality. Every player who steps on that field must play as if it's their final snap. That kind of urgency, combined with confidence and swagger, is what will define whether this Bears team can truly turn the corner. And make no mistake, this moment isn't just about players, it's about coaching. Last season slipped away because of leadership that failed to maximize the talent in the building. Ben Johnson knows it, and he's determined not to let history repeat itself. When asked about facing Matt Eberflus, Johnson didn't hesitate. He acknowledged that the Bears have people inside the building who understand how Eberflus thinks, how he schemes, and how he tries to attack offenses. His words carried weight: we know how his mind works. That's not just confidence, it's a shot across the field. The truth is, Johnson is reprogramming this team. Caleb Williams and his teammates are essentially relearning the game under a system that emphasizes winning habits. Yes, the Bears are sitting at 0-2. But Johnson has lived this before. He's been on rosters that stumbled early, only to rebound and finish strong. He understands the process, and he's instilling that same belief in Chicago. Meanwhile, Eberflus now leads a Dallas defense that's among the worst in the league. That contrast tells you everything. One coach is laying the foundation for the future, while the other is clinging to a past that no longer works. Dallas gave up more than 420 passing yards to Russell Wilson, a quarterback many had already written off. If Wilson can torch that defense, what does that say about Matt Eberflus and the Cowboys system? It speaks volumes. And that's where Ben Johnson's mentality comes in. This is his team now, and he's shaping them with an edge. The Bears also have inside knowledge. Guys like Richard Hightower and several players in the building know exactly how Eberflus operates. They've sat in those meetings. They've seen his tendencies. That insight could be crucial on Sunday. But Johnson didn't stop at preparing for Dallas, he also turned his attention inward, specifically to cornerback Tariq Stevenson. When asked about him, Johnson made it clear, confidence is not the problem. Stevenson has swagger, he has toughness. The issue is execution. The numbers tell the story. Opposing quarterbacks currently have a perfect passer rating when throwing in his direction. 10 tackles and 1 pass breakup don't hide the fact that he's been targeted and beaten far too often. Those statistics can't continue if the Bears want to compete. Still, Johnson's public message sounded more like reassurance than criticism. Almost as if he was saying, "We believe in you. Settle down. Trust your ability." That's the kind of boost a young cornerback needs heading into a game of this magnitude. On Sunday, Tariq Stevenson won't just be tested, he'll be under the spotlight. And how he responds could set the tone for the entire secondary against a Dallas offense desperate to make a statement. One of the best sights Bears fans could imagine this Sunday? Tariq Stevenson jumping a route, snatching an interception, and taking it all the way back for 6, staring down his old coach as he races down the sideline. That would be a statement. That would be Chicago football. But before any highlight moments can happen, the Bears have to deal with a troubling injury report heading into Dallas. Linebacker TJ Edwards is back on the list with the same hamstring issue that sidelined him earlier. He pushed to return too soon, and now the team risks losing him again for multiple weeks. That's not just a blow, it's a reminder of how fragile this roster can be if handled carelessly. Cornerback Kyler Gordon will also miss his 3rd straight game. His health continues to raise red flags, as recurring hamstring problems keep holding him back. When healthy, Gordon is a difference maker. But the Bears can't afford to keep relying on what-ifs. And the concern doesn't stop there. Veteran defensive lineman Grady Jarrett is now battling a knee injury. He gutted it out last week but wasn't anywhere near his usual disruptive self, and he's missed practice time since. The smarter play may be to rest him, because second-round pick Jamar Turner is still waiting for his shot, and this might be the moment to unleash him. For Chicago, the message is clear, the next man has to be ready. If the Bears are going to swing hard against Dallas, depth will have to carry the load. And how these backups perform could decide whether Chicago survives this early season storm or slips further into it. The injuries just keep stacking up for Chicago. Cornerback Jalen Johnson is still sidelined with that groin issue, and while he hasn't officially been placed on injured reserve yet, the writing may be on the wall. The Bears are holding out hope, but the concern is real that this could linger. Adding to the frustration, defensive back Jalen Jones has now landed on the injury report with a hamstring problem. He returned to Chicago as a special teams contributor after a brief stint in Arizona, but now his availability is in question, too. That's another hit to an already thin secondary. On offense, depth is being tested as well. Offensive lineman Kieran Amagaji is nursing an elbow injury and was limited. Running back DeAndre Swift showed up with a quad issue, though he at least managed limited work. And safety Jaquan Walker is dealing with an ankle problem, leaving his status uncertain as well. Taken together, this is becoming more than just bad luck, it raises questions about the team's training and recovery process. Ben Johnson can scheme all he wants, but if this roster continues to lose key players, the challenge of building momentum only gets harder. Right now, the Bears' health is a storyline all by itself. The margin for error is razor thin, and every name added to that list only makes the climb steeper. Chicago needs answers, and fast, before this season slips further out of their hands.